This is a podcast from the Bugle.
Hello and welcome to Catharsis. I'm Tiff Stevenson, full-time comedian, part-time, massively unqualified therapist for this podcast only. Each week I talk to a guest about small things that are pet peeves or old grudges that they wish to heal. And they can maybe get some release. I probably shouldn't say release because whenever I say it, it sounds like a hand job. We'll also dive into a topical gripe or two, and we'll bring some listener problems to the show today. Before I introduce my guest, which I'm very excited about having him this week, I do want to talk very briefly about these current attempts to rebrand shark attacks. Basically, sharks are having a PR job done on them. I'm not happy about it. There was a press release recently that said we need to rebrand them. I mean, who is taking this on as a job? Yes, could you not refer to them as frenzied attacks? Let's call them bitey wet times. Can we say you were lovingly lacerated? And also, could we stop referring to the sharks as prehistoric because they find that quite offensive? I don't know where this came from or where it started, but we know that sharks are, prehistoric predators. I don't think we need to rebrand the shark attacks. I don't think they need the great press. I'm going to ask my guest what he thinks actually. This week, I am joined by comedian, raconteur, and utterly mad bastard, Tom Ward.
Am I a mad bastard?
I think I said that because you sometimes do videos as Ray Winston, and he's definitely a mad bastard.
Well, I'm a wacky bastard because I own these shades. And we all love a wacky guy, don't we? We're wacky shades. This guy arrives at your party.
That's your rebranding. Speaking of rebranding, your shades of rebranding. You're just going to move into your Carrot Top era with those and become a prop comic.
Become a wacky guy. Just constantly wacky everywhere I go. It's not just for the cameras. It's part of my life. It's in the shops. It's in the streets.
How do you feel about sharks?
About sharks or shark attacks, I think are a terrible event, a shocking event. Terrible for the families.
Yes.
For those affected, but for the shark, it's a great day. There's sharks in general. I don't really like them. I find them to be quite unforgiving company, from what I can tell.
Yeah.
And they're not beautiful. If they were beautiful and they did all that stuff, then I wouldn't mind. But they just have this look about them, like a sort of.
Well, like bears are cute as well.
Yeah.
And little bear cubs are cute. So you kind of go, oh, but bears are cute. And actually, I saw a picture recently. A friend of mine lives in Connecticut, and he sent me a picture of a bear that had smelt some cookies being made in someone's kitchen and had got up on the porch steps and had its paws on
Oh my God.
So there you would kind of go, yeah, you kind of feel sympathy towards the bear. You don't have to rebrand bear attacks because people go, they're awful, but also bears are cute, so we're not just going to indiscriminately find them.
I do think we are essentially quite shallow about the animals we like and don't like based on how cuddly they are.
Yeah. I'm a pretty cuddly animal.
I do suspect being attacked by a bear is deeply unpleasant, even if you're looking at it at the time going, God, you're cute. I don't think, I doubt.
Well, I mean, if Leonardo DiCaprio is anything to go by in the world's longest film.
You mention him every time I see you. He's always on your mind, isn't he, Leo?
I think he's a fantastic actor.
Yeah.
That's what I do.
You just wish you were 22, don't you? So look at
25, you. Tom. We all know that's the cap. 25 for Leonardo.
Okay. Yeah.
Let's start the podcast by getting into some of your stuff, because the first section of the show we like to call old grudges. So that's something that happened to you in the past that you maybe feel like, I wish I'd have handled that differently, or maybe just like, I want to say this, like, fuck that person. And it can be big, it can be small, it can be fun, it can be silly, it can be serious. Just tell me what you got to bring to the table.
Well, a few grudges came to mind, and I think they're all around a similar theme. When I was 8, I went into the classroom at the end of break time and saw that my teacher's cup of tea had been left there. And I was worried about it getting cold. So I put it on the windowsill so that it could be closer to the sun.
Aww.
To keep it warm. And then she came in and said, "Where's my tea?" And I said, "I put it up there." And she shouted at me. She told me off. And I tried to explain, but she sent me out. Um, so I don't know if you're listening. um, I don't know who you are. I don't know, and I don't know if you're listening, but that really upset me, and I feel like that set a tone for me being misunderstood when I was trying to do nice things. Because it
Throughout your
happened again.
life.
It happened again when I was 12. I tried to help my classmates stop smoking. And so I bought them herbal cigarettes from Holland and Barrett, and I sold them to them at cost price, no
Oh, of
profit.
course, no profit.
Yeah, I just wanted to help them. And then someone dobbed me in and said they saw me selling them, and I got suspended for 2 weeks.
So the tragedy of that story is that you got suspended for selling herbal cigarettes, which
Yeah,
it's not even cool.
no, it's not cool at all. I know, it's
If
so
you'd have
lame.
been if you'd have been selling some Benson and Hedges or
Yeah,
Marlboro Reds, then you would have
yeah,
been like, at least I've got the cred points.
I know.
So did the friend ask you to buy the herbal cigarettes, or did you just take it upon yourself?
No, I was a proactive child, you know. I just wanted. I didn't want my classmates to smoke. It's too young to smoke 12, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
And they were all very cool, you know, talking about the girls they were seeing on holiday and all this stuff. And I'm like, I had no clue about what they were doing and how they were doing it. But I was like, you know what? One thing I can do is end this slippery slope now with tobacco, at least.
So the herbal cigarettes and honey cigarettes are what they give actors on set if you don't smoke.
Okay.
And I don't smoke, so I've smoked those a few times, and they do give off a certain amount of like billowy ness, so that it
Yes.
looks like you're smoking in a scene. So I like that you didn't add anything on. I also like that you just like you say, you're proactive. You didn't check with them. You just went, no, I'm going to do this.
Yeah.
Like if were nicotine patches available then as well?
Well, it was the 90s, so I'm guessing they were.
So you're like kind of like a low key low key doctor.
Yeah.
Just getting about school going, I've got to make sure your tea's warm, that you're not smoking cigarettes, you're not doing anything that's bad for you.
Yeah, but I was learning. The big education I was receiving from all this was that the world is a deeply cynical place, and that kindness isn't always rewarded. I was sent out of class for the tea, and I was suspended for the cigarettes.
So what happened then? Did your parents like get a letter to say
I just
Tommy's
got a
not coming
call.
right,
I got a
okay.
call and said that was it. So I was off school for 2 weeks, and I just had to go to my dad's office and study there. And I had 3 donuts every day, so I put on half a stone. So it was a really difficult time. Um, But when I was 13, I went to help an old lady carry her bag up the stairs, and a man saw me off her, and he said, "Why would she need help with a bag that small?" And looked at me like I was a thief. And I was like, "Do you know what? Fuck all these people, man.
Oh, I
I'm
see.
trying."
Immediately when you said that, I thought he meant sexist, but like
Oh
he
no,
thought
she
you
was
were
an
trying
old
to
lady.
steal
No,
it.
she was
Right.
elderly. She wasn't
Yeah.
she wasn't like 30 or something. She was like 80.
Oh, so he
Um,
thought you were going to nick her bag.
yeah. I was
And
like, I
what
was
did
just
you
like,
say?
well, I'm saying it now. Fuck you. I didn't say it at the time. I was a sad little child and didn't understand the world. And um, yeah, so those 3 experiences have made me the hardened, calloused,
Human.
unkind person that I am now. I was like, "Do you know what? Shove it. If this is what you get from kindness, no more."
Calloused. You're a walking guitar thumb.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Callous like a it's because the first one is just such a genuinely cute little thing to do, to kind of go, oh, the teacher's like I'll put it in the sunshine and keep it warm. Did you have a little crush on her, or do you think it
No,
was just you being just like a good,
I
yeah,
just wanted to, yeah, look out for her.
yeah. And it's very sweet, and it upsets me to think that other humans crushed you so early, Tom.
Yeah,
you
well,
know
this is probably why I do comedy, isn't it? I'm trying to I'm trying to win the
Trying to win.
trust of the world.
Win everyone.
Yeah,
Have you
yeah.
did you ever, so that kind of falls under the purview of no good deed goes unpunished,
Yeah.
if you've ever heard that phrase.
Yeah, I have,
Did your
yeah.
parents believe you when you said that you were trying to help your friend? Were they
Yeah,
like,
yeah. But my dad was strangely, because he was a born again Christian, so he was really into the drama of persecution. He really liked it when he got persecuted, or when I got persecuted, as he called it, which is quite a heavy word. So I'll be
now
like,
we're really beginning to unpack
yeah,
how you got into
the
stand-up
session
comedy.
has begun.
And how did that make you feel, Tom?
Yes. Uh, so he was kind of happy about it. He liked it. Anytime there was a drama where the world was out to get us, he was like, good, good, good. We are suffering. We are suffering for the Lord. Our reward will be in heaven, you know. So there was all that going on. So that was quite confusing. I can laugh now because I'm medicated. But at the time, I couldn't. I didn't even know medication existed.
It is one of those things of these early experiences do kind of shape how you approach doing nice and kind things. And I guess the doing the kind thing is supposed to be the reward in itself, right? You're not supposed to want
Mm.
to get something in return. But this isn't even you wanting something in return. This is you doing a thing and then being actively like punished for trying to help.
It gives you a very strange feedback loop of how the world works, doesn't it?
Yeah.
You're like, oh, well, nothing is quite what I was told or
And
what I
did it
expected.
stop then, or is it carried on into your adult life? Do you still now go, I'm not going to do that because I'm worried I'm going to get.
Do you know what, Tiff? I am so overflowing with kindness. You couldn't even stop me if you tried. I mean, I just, I just, no, but I do just want to be. I just want to do my thing. I'm not gonna let the world stop me. So I
Yes.
just plow on, man. I plow on. I always think you got to plow through, haven't you?
Yeah.
Got to put it out there and see who bites on your vibe.
You give freely your compliments, which is something I know about you, which I
Yeah.
like. Yeah. Yeah. There are people in life who freely compliment. I'd like to think that I'm one of them. And there are people who withhold it,
Right. I hate those people.
which is like quite difficult, especially in the business that
Mm.
we're in.
Oh
Because,
yeah.
you know, and there's other comics around, and like to kind of, you know, when you've seen someone be amazing or do well, you're like, that was great. And I love, you know, like, and there are some people who are like, yeah, I'm just not going to say anything. I'm just
Mm.
not going to say anything about what just happened. And I can't. I feel like it would like burst out of my chest if I didn't just say out loud. I thought that
Yeah.
was amazing.
Yeah, I don't know. What are you scared of? I think people have this kind of fear that they'll give away some of their power or something if they reveal that they thought your set was good, you know, or they like that joke you did or whatever. Like, oh, I shouldn't say it. The balance of power is so fragile. Imagine how nice life would be if you weren't threatened or saddened by other people's successes. That would like knock out 50% of the pain, wouldn't it?
Yes, it
Of
would.
especially of this job, but I
Yeah.
think any job,
Yeah.
like I'm sure there's weather girls watching some other weather girl going on TV and be like, why is that bitch there? I'm way better at weather. She's only there because she wears short skirts or whatever, you know?
She doesn't know about low pressure.
Yeah,
She
not like
doesn't.
I do.
But here's the thing. I think and that doesn't mean that I don't get professional jealousies. I do, like loads. But I try not to let it stop me from acting. If I think something's great, going, oh, that's amazing.
Mm,
Like, oh, it's brilliant that you've done that. And trying to then kind of go, well, that's good because it means if they're doing it, that just means more people are doing it. You know,
mm,
I can do it. You know, and of course, you know that comparison, that old phrase, comparison is the thief of joy, and that is what social media does so much. You only get to see the highlights, don't you? But
mm.
I try and so I still see stuff and go, fucking hell, I wish I was, you know, like mine tends to be like, I wish I was doing that, not why like I wish they weren't. I might go,
Yeah,
oh, if they're doing, I could be doing that, you know. So I do get that, but I
yeah,
try not to let it get to the point where it won't let me acknowledge when something's good because I can't get over the fact,
sure.
you
Yeah,
know.
it's all like it's smothered with this blanket of jealousy and rage and insecurity. Yeah, like let's just look under here. Oh yeah, I'm actually quite happy for them, or that no fair play, they do deserve it, or whatever. Yeah.
In your best moments, not that we're always at our best moments. Well, thank you for sharing that with me. So tell me about your unpopular opinion.
I love Bono.
I love Bono. I'm with you on this.
Yeah, but I find it very hard to meet people that open about it.
Right. Okay.
It's like it's trendy to slag off U2 and Bono. I love Bono. Bono's my favorite. I'll be devastated if I find out that Bono has been cheating on Ali for 46 years. There's rumors that he and Andrea Corr had a fling, and I was like, this is so exciting. And how could it not happen? How could it not? Come on. They did
Irish pop and rock legends.
and they did a duet together. There's footage, and they're both just swooning and breathy and gazing at each other. And it's just like, of course they had to have sex after that. Or it's just a very good performance. But I love Bono.
Tom, have you heard of acting?
Yeah.
You don't believe it. Andrea Corr has acted in a few films, actually, so she definitely has the capability to fake that.
Yeah.
Is that upsetting for you?
No, I mean, the truth is what I want, Tiff. But I love Bono. I think he's a charming, intelligent man with an incredible voice. I like U2 up until the late 90s. After that, it's a bit embarrassing, but I saw him speaking recently in person, and it was magnetic. The guy knows how to work a room. He's a proper rock star. He's willing to play the role, and he's fully committed. He's willing to be the spectacle.
Right.
He's willing to be incarnate rock star all the time. And he loves getting in amongst it and talking about it and trying to work it out. And he's well read, and he takes risks, and he's willing to look naff for what he believes in. And he's got this massive ego, and he's a hypocrite as well, which is just such a nice thing to see. It makes you feel relaxed about your own
hypocrisy.
Yeah, and your vanity, I'm vain and I'm self-obsessed, but I'm also concerned about things, as we know from my teenage stories. I want to help. But I'm also incredibly vain and want to look good and want to make money and want to get around. He did an advert for a handbag company with his wife. Was it Louis Vuitton?
I was going to say, did he do a Louis Vuitton?
He did a Louis Vuitton advert. I saw the poster and I was like,
I feel like that's his wife going, I want a couple of Louis Vuitton bags.
Yeah, well,
come
maybe.
on, Bono.
I'm sure he could afford them. It's like, I'll get my checkbook, sweetheart.
Do you know how much the luggage range costs? I mean, I'm sure he could, but yes, it can go into the hundreds of thousands. It's insane. Like the old fashioned, because they do those, like almost trunks. They do trunks, luggage trunks. Yeah. So, but I admire. There was that whole 80s phase of Bono where U2 kind of went a bit new romantic, and there are videos of Bono wearing like joggers and knee-high boots on stage and a ruffle shirt and a blazer, and I'm into it.
Yeah.
I think he looks hot there.
Was he wearing a snood?
And he wasn't wearing a snood, no.
He had the mullet though, didn't he? He had a kind of
have a mullet. He did for a little while, yeah.
Yeah.
Also, there's something really gratifying about the fact that they do, they are a stadium rock band. They're huge, but they do political. They talk about stuff that matters, as well as being able to do a love song, and as well as being able to, But Sunday Bloody Sunday, they've got music that speaks to what was happening in Ireland in the 80s and what was, part of the cultural sort of landscape. And I like that about them.
Yeah,
because I don't
too.
know that there are many other stadium rock bands who you go, oh, they're also doing issues.
Yeah. There's range. There's real intelligence there.
Oh, Springsteen. Springsteen is probably another great example of someone who actually does sort of raises questions or talks about what's happening culturally.
Yeah, I can't.
You're not into Springsteen.
I'm not into Springsteen.
That's your fucking unpopular opinion for me, because Springsteen is a legend and a god and an icon. What is it about him?
He looks like an Athena poster.
Yeah.
He looks like, or a calendar of hunky men in the mid-90s. He looks like a Marlboro advert. I can't quite take him seriously. Just his look
Is he
his
too
look.
all American for you?
It's very American. His voice is like that, I was bursted out of class. It's just too testosterone-y.
Oh, it feels like you should directly connect with it if he was busted out of class.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
was busted out of class for selling herbal cigarettes.
Yeah.
I can, there is a lot of like, if you do the sort of tropey stuff about Springsteen, you can kind of go, well, it's cars. There's going to be like Born to Run, um, chrome wheeled, fuel injected. Is one of the lyrics in that, like trading these wings for some wheels. Like there's a lot of
Mm.
cars, there's a lot of girls, but I kind of like the disenfranchised American blue collar. Like he's talking about working class people. There's a great line in Jungle Land actually where he's talking about it's just like he's talking about Jersey on a Friday night, and he's like he talks about she turns out the woman in the bedroom softly turns out the light, and there's an eventual surrender, and then he says the poets down here don't write nothing at all; they just stand back and let it all be. So
Mm.
it's just kind of the way he talks about the unfolding of, and the people are the poets of the town, and they're the witnesses and stuff like that. I think there's something really. This is now just about how much I love Springsteen, but you don't like him, so this is an
No, but
unpopular
I
opinion
do
from
have
me.
Springsteen. I have two of his albums. I've got Badlands and Darkness on the Edge of Town, which has got Badlands on it, and Born in the USA. But what I like about him and Bono is that they give so generously to their audiences. Every gig, it's just this huge amount of energy that they give. And
Yes.
that's what sets them apart. That's why they're megastars. There's a lot of bands, there's a lot of people who want to be in bands, there's a lot of people who want to be rock stars, but actually fundamentally don't respect their audience.
Yeah.
That thing
Yeah.
where we come when we come on stage and we're like, oh, I don't fancy it tonight. Oh,
Yeah.
these crowd's a bit, well, I don't like playing in Surrey, whatever. But these guys will rock up and they will belt it out, even to a slightly awkward audience or a disenchanted audience or a slightly strange situation where the venue isn't quite right. You know that they'll give it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like people, like bands like Echo and the Bunnymen were turning down gigs, and U2 were taking them. There was
Yes.
famously like Echo and the Bunnymen turned down a wet T-shirt competition that they wanted a band, and you two did it. I was like, this is pre Sunday Bloody Sunday, I'm assuming, but Leslie was singing that there.
I
Um,
still haven't found what I'm looking for. Wet titties. Um,
but yeah, it's about like the generosity and the energy he has to still do it. That really shows me what it is to actually respect your audience and to be so single-minded. I admire that.
Why do you think he's unpopular? Do you think it's for all of those reasons?
I think anything with morality gets people's backs up.
Right.
I don't think it's the music. I think the music is naff to certain people. They'll hear it and go, "Oh, it's all about mountains and flying and feelings and this kind of wishy-washy landscapey vibe." But I don't think that's enough. I think it's the morality. I think it's the anything where people make a moral choice puts people's backs up
Right. Right.
because they're like, "What are you saying about me? You're saying I'm wrong," and then they look for hypocrisy in the person that's proclaiming
And
virtue.
you said he's open about his hypocrisy, and that's quite
Well,
refreshing.
I think he would admit that he's a complicated person, that he's not above the things. He's not above being human.
I was just remembering that episode of South Park now because I was going, is he unpopular? But there was that episode of where he takes the world's biggest shit. And I just remember the whole way through it is that Bono comes on and he goes, yeah, yeah, yeah. Hello, hello.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
that
yeah.
but
That's what
that
they have
era,
him doing.
I'm not interested in that era of U2. That's that era, like post 2000, is just not interesting to me. It's the music anyway. I
Yes,
still think
yeah.
he's great, but
Uh,
yeah, the music it's just terrible. But yeah, before that, there still felt like there was an itch that was somehow okay. What's your itch? But now it's like it feels like he's churning out a kind of version of the itch, which I don't really.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? When a
Yeah,
band doesn't
I've
feel like
churned
they're
out a
saying
version of the itch, but it was thrush.
it.
No, but I think it's interesting because I think sometimes it's people like to, for contrarianism or to be contrary, is take something that's hugely popular and then say, well, I hate that. So
Mm.
it can be an unpopular opinion to love something that's unabashedly successful and huge.
Yeah, yeah.
To, how I get, and this is really petty and pathetic, I'll share this with you before we move on, is that I don't like people who never knew anything about a band that I love and then all of a sudden start talking about it. I'm like, shut up,
Mm.
I've loved them forever, get out. Like, I'll see people do it with
Mm.
Fleetwood Mac and stuff, and I'm like, shut up, get out of the way, you don't know about Stevie Nicks, you don't know.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah. It's
You
very
don't
annoying.
understand. Yeah. So I'm like, I love them. Now I don't like you. And now that you like them, it makes me want to not like them, which is
Yeah.
that's beyond tragic, really.
I think as a culture, we have that a version of that is happening whenever like young people come through and start becoming ideological at us. I
Yes.
think we have a version of that where we go, fuck you, I've been around a long time. I'm not an idiot.
Yes.
I lived through the 90s, you
Yeah.
know, and we were, like this idea that I've been somehow culturally blind in all ways, that I didn't ever have
Until you
any of
came
this.
along.
Yeah, with your shrill voice and your placard,
Yeah.
you know, it's like, oh, that's all
I
I
have it
needed.
as a, if I see one more person saying educate yourself and they haven't done a GCSE, and I'm like,
Yeah,
this person's 15. I'm like, how about you
yeah.
educate yourself with an exam? Like, literal.
Yeah, so it puts you back up, doesn't it? It's like,
Yeah. Yeah.
no,
Yeah. Well, I agree with your unpopular opinion, which is that Bono is
okay,
pretty fantastic.
great.
Not that this podcast relies on me agreeing or disagreeing. I just want to put it out there that I also think Bono is a bit of a legend. Yeah,
Ah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay, we have time to get into a listener problem. I describe it as angry aunt because I am supposed to kind of get angry on their behalf. And I used to just like shout and rage, but now I'm middle aged, so I'm gonna have a good complaint. This is from the Bouncing Cow. So I put, do you have any problems? Dear angry aunt, yes. Young people saying, oh, bless to anyone over the age of 50. I
Yeah.
think that could just be the phrase, oh, bless.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
There's a lot of people who just oh, bless them, bless,
Yeah.
bless.
Yeah, I don't like it. I don't like it. It's innately patronizing.
It's a lot, but I think a lot of people use it without even realizing that it's that. I think it's almost like a what do you use that when you like pepper something through a sentence? It's sort of like saying like, like as a bit of rhetoric in speech. That you could drop loads of likes in. I think
Mm.
bless is oh, bless. It's like a way of reacting when someone says someone's done something and they go, oh, bless. It's a sort of non-response. It's
Yeah.
a sort of is it a platitude? Is that the word I'm looking for?
Yeah, I think yeah, I think sometimes people get vertigo in conversations. Sorry, not vertigo, like a hello, hello, whoa.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Vertigo as in they can't handle a conversation. They get like, oh, it's too deep, or I'm in over my head here. Let's quickly put a full stop on it. So they'll say bless, or well, you
Yeah,
know,
yeah, yeah.
they'll find a way to bring it back, because they're in too far or something. But you can tell when someone is trying not to be nasty, because they'll say bless him when they're bringing it into a conversation. They'll be like, oh, David, bless him. And I'm like, oh God, what are you gonna? You're about to say something absolutely horrible now, aren't you?
That sounds like a mum. It feels like a very mum kind of. Oh, bless him. Bless his cotton
mm,
socks. Used to be
mm.
the full.
He's
But
trying.
yes, yeah. David's fucked up. Bless
Yeah,
him. He was just trying. Bless
yeah,
his. Like, it's giving someone the benefit of the doubt.
yeah. But the undertone is he's a fucking idiot.
Yeah. But also you can't say it to anyone over 50, like, Well, I don't even think it's over 50. I think if you're much younger than a person you're saying it to, oh, bless, it does
Yeah.
feel like, what are you on about?
Mm.
But I think people aren't knowingly doing it. Before we go, let's have a quick chat about what you have to plug, if you have anything to plug, and hit me up with some dates, places people can go see you.
I have gigs always, gigging all the time. I've got stand-up sketch shows coming out next month. I've got a lovely event at the Comedy Store that I'm hosting on the 19th of June. So the week after your lovely gig at Old Rope.
Okay.
The week after that, 19th
So
of
buy
June,
tickets.
at the Comedy Store. Yes, and I'm hosting a charity event with Rich Hall headlining, and Michelle Dessoir, Laura Smith, Emmanuel Sanubi, and Sean McLaughlin. What a
Great
tasty
lineup. What a lineup. So I would like to plug, I'm doing a week at the Edinburgh Fringe, work in progress at the Monkey Barrel at midday, 1 week only, 14th to the 20th. Will I ever do a month again? Probably not. So if you want to come and see that work in progress, I've kept tickets cheap, low priced, so you can get on board with that. I'm also on Twitter and Instagram. Old Rope is coming up on Monday, probably when this is out. So, but we are monthly at the Comedy Store, so check out Old Rope at the Comedy Store. Thank you for listening to Catharsis. Thanks for joining me, Tom.
Pleasure, Tiff.
You can listen to other programmes from The Bugle, including The Bugle, Catharsis, Tiny Revolutions, Top Stories, and The Gargle, wherever you find your podcasts.